Portland, Georgetown, Green Bay, Wisconsin. What would happen if some Karen said that? It was sexualized violence. Can you imagine? Probably go to jail for that.
Did anyone think that he wasn't going to comment? Is there anything his audience wanted more this week than for him to laugh and mock and make up a fake name for a woman who is afraid of being raped, who, by the way, has been sexually assaulted? She is a survivor already. I'm sure that he knows that. They were desperate for him to try to find a picture of her where she'll look crazy that he can put up. He's just choosing to do that. It's disgusting. It's not surprising in any way. Brett, very briefly, thoughts?
This is a guy who, when protesters were in his neighborhood, freaked the F out. And his wife locked herself in the basement or whatever, and he wouldn't shut up about it.
Yep.
Get a therapist, Tucker. And you think that if she got a therapist, he wouldn't be like, what an elitist. I thought you were a bartender. I thought bartenders were therapists. Like, that is what Tucker Carlson's entire MO is, has been, and will be. And the guy calling her Sandy and using that over the shoulder photo is just depraved and stupid, and he knows it, and he's the worst on purpose because he sucks.
A reminder, earlier this week he said, I don't know why the Democrats will come on my show. Come on, I don't call names, I'm nice. Yeah, well, maybe there's reasons. Maybe there's reasons that literally no one should ever come on your show because they don't want to support you mocking survivors of sexual assault. Anyway, that's my garbage person. For your garbage person, 35,000 of you voted this week, and coming in at number 5, we have Tucker Carlson for a different reason at 11% of the vote for being buddy-buddy with Viktor Orban. At number 4, we have 12% of the vote. Marjorie Taylor Greene for spreading COVID misinformation, for which she was suspended from Twitter. Coming in at number 3 with 14% of the vote, Mike Lindell for his bogus election fraud cyber symposium, which has not worked out for him. Number 2, somehow Andrew Cuomo only comes in at number 2 with 15% of the vote for trying to defend his history of sexual assault. But far and away, your garbage person of the week, the community garbage person with 48% of the vote, Greg Abbott, for fighting masks while COVID cases in Texas soar. I'm gonna give DeSantis an honorary mention there, or honorable mention. Anyway, thank you for everybody who voted, do appreciate it. Brett, thank you for joining us as always. There's a lot more content coming up, so don't go anywhere. Indisputable starts in just a few, but for now, stay safe out there, stay sane out there. I'll see you soon.
You know what it is. It's Friday. Welcome to Indisputable. We got a lot of show today. Ladies and gentlemen, breaking down news of the day with me, none other than the big homie, Wosny Lambre, host of Wosny at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesdays on Twitch, and host of Woke Bros and writer at The Ringer. He'll join us in just a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, my top story for today. Right-wing Christian textbooks are teaching that enslaved black people were actually immigrants. That's what they're teaching, among other things. I kid you not. A Guardian analysis finds that private schools, especially Christian schools, use textbooks that tell a version of history completely 100% inaccurate. These right-wing US textbooks are used in thousands of schools across the United States of America. Here's what they do. They blame Black Lives Matter, the movement, for strife between communities and police officers. Discusses the prevalence of black supremacist organizations during the civil rights movement, calling Malcolm X the most prominent black supremacist of the era. It gets deeper. Now keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, these textbooks are teaching this, and they are completely leaving out anything about slavery being evil or white supremacist, or even the evils of what the Confederacy fought for. It gets deeper. The Guardian analysis has found that private schools, especially Christian schools, use textbooks that tell a version of history that is basically biased and often inaccurate. These textbooks used in thousands, you heard me correctly, thousands of private schools, many of which receive tens of thousands of dollars in public funding every year, whitewash the legacy of slavery, frame Native Americans as lesser, and blame the Black Lives Matter movement for sowing racial discord. About half of states in this country have either enacted or are looking to enact restrictions on discussions of systemic racism. Now, do you see what's happening yet? All of this jazz about critical race theory being taught in K through 12 education, which by the way, CRT is not taught in K through 12 education. It was simply a false pretext to create the context in order to stop K through 12 education from teaching the reality of racism in America. What they are trying to do, ladies and gentlemen, is adopt a philosophy and a narrative that is akin to what they are already teaching their children in these private institutions. They are now trying to do the same in public education. There's more. The Guardian reviewed dozens of textbooks produced by the Christian textbook publishers Abeka, Bob Jones University Press, and Accelerated Christian Education. Those are your three. Three of the most popular textbook sources used in private schools throughout the US. These textbooks describe slavery, get this, as black immigration, and say Nelson Mandela helped move South Africa to a system of radical affirmative action. You have got to be freaking kidding me. Now remember, these textbooks are not just at Christian institutions, they are at secular private institutions as well. Let's put up a dear picture of Nelson Mandela, the late Nelson Mandela, okay? They're saying he's a bad guy in their history books. Let's go even deeper. An Abeka 11th grade history textbook passage describes slavery in purely economic terms, ignoring its human cost, writing that slaves seem to be better investments than indentured servants. As the textbook moves to modern history, the authors criticize President Barack Obama for harming relations in the country. Okay, let's put up a picture. Let's do some B-roll of former President Barack Obama. Let's do that. I'm painting a picture here. You may see where I'm going, okay? Here's one of the quotes directly from one of the textbooks. Unfortunately, Americans' views of race relations declined after Obama came into office. This is in their textbook. Race riots in places such as Ferguson, Missouri, and Baltimore, Maryland, greatly escalated racial tensions and worsened strife between minorities and local police, the textbook reads. President Obama's attempts to resolve these problems often seemed to make the situation worse. Wait a minute. They are leaving out white supremacists. They are leaving out white ideology or white bias ideology, racism as a whole. They are blaming it all on former President Barack Obama in the textbook. So let me get this right. Nelson Mandela, bad guy, according to their textbook. Former President Barack Obama, bad guy, according to their textbook. But enslaved Africans in America, like this person, not so bad, according to them. That is actually a black immigrant. And this was purely an economic issue, an investment opportunity. It doesn't just stop with private education. You see, there's a movement in public education that has been going on for years to stop calling slave masters or slave owners slave anything. They're now referring to them as plantation owners and not saying what slavery is, but calling enslaved Africans plantation workers. That's already in public education. Big Waz, what are your thoughts here?
You know, as a hyper secular person who I now am, but also somebody who was raised Christian, the lack of imagination here is just appalling. If they wanted to, they could have taken the cynical neoliberal route and told a story of white American redemption and say, yes, these people came here in bondage. Yes, there was white violence after Reconstruction, all through the Jim Crow era and up until Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement. However, white Americans have redeemed themselves. We now produce black presidents and black CEOs and moguls like Oprah and black generals and black public intellectuals like Cornel West at our highest levels of education and elite institution. We have been redeemed. I thought Christians liked the redemption story, Dr. Rich, or at least that's the Christianity that I was raised on. Instead, they say this easily disproved fiction about immigration and Barack Obama showing dissent between the races and not, sort of these type of Christian leaders themselves doing the dissension. It's stupid and it's just so lazy. It's so easy to paint a picture of white America being redeemed by some of the moderate gains that black people have been able to achieve in this society. Instead, they want to just tell outright lies that are easily disproved. And guess what? These Christian kids are gonna grow up to be Christian and some atheist adults, by the way, once they learn that this stuff was all lies and bunk.
That's right. Well said, brother. Quite interesting in their narrative that black individuals who have obtained success in progressing their movement, they are marginalized in their textbooks. However, the institution and industry of an evil known as slavery is given a moral basis for operation in their textbooks. Unbelievable, but believable. Let me shift gears to one of the saddest stories I've ever had to report on. A toddler shot and killed his 21-year-old mother. Okay, this is a tough story, all right? This was during a video Zoom call. A toddler in Florida fatally shot a woman during a video call after finding an unsecured handgun, police said Thursday. Someone on the work-related Zoom conference called 911 and reported that they had seen a toddler and heard a noise before the woman, Shamaya Lynn, fell backward, police said in the statement. I want to show a picture of the deceased young lady. 21 years of age. Altamont Springs near Orlando is where this happened. Investigators determined that the injury was caused by a toddler who found a loaded handgun, which was left unsecured by an adult in the apartment. Altamont Springs police said in a statement, police said Lynn was shot in the head. Investigators said the handgun belonged to the father of the victim's 2 young children. The station reported neither child was injured, thank God. I want to show you a picture of this once very happy family, okay? Now here's why I'm doing this. This is a tough story for me to get through. Young couple, responsible, except in this arena. An unsecured handgun has destroyed that entire family. She's dead. The father may be facing charges, investigation pending. The toddler at some point is going to likely know what happened at some point in their life. The case is under investigation, no charges have been found. Now let me bring you to a very sober reality about safety. I know it's constitutional to have a gun, we know that. Constitution says you can have one. But with that constitutional right comes a moral and ethical responsibility. There were at least 369 unintentional shootings by children younger than 18 years old last year. 142 deaths came out of that. That's according to the gun control advocacy group, Every Town for Gun Safety, who tracks the report. And they would tell you that those numbers are a conservative estimate. In North Carolina, in February, a 25-year-old mother, of 5 was inadvertently shot and killed after her children found a gun in her purse. In April, a 3-year-old boy in Houston found an unsecured firearm and fatally shot his 8-month-old brother. Okay, here's why I'm doing this story. If you own a firearm, secure it. Secure it. Secure it as if not only your child's life depends on it, but yours too. Big Waz, sad story, man. I had to bring it to the attention. Hopefully, warnings like this create caution and safety for others who may not be paying attention.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember as a kid, like anytime I'd see a cop or anytime I'd see a gun, I remember just feeling the sort of weight of being around one, like understanding that this thing could take a life in an instant, and sort of grasping the gravity of that, that truth. And I wonder if, the way our society has tried to trivialize guns and I remember when Columbine happened and it was just the biggest news story ever. It was like you couldn't escape it as a story. Like, can you believe this tragedy where these people just killed their classmates with guns. It feels like gun violence just doesn't seem like a thing anymore. And I think that cavalier attitude towards gun violence trickles down into gun ownership, where people just feel like it's just another thing. And because to me, that's the only way you can justify having a deadly weapon within your home and having it be with arm's reach of your loved ones who are children or toddlers. I wonder if, just American society, their indifference about what guns can do has trickled down into gun ownership.
Yeah, well said, brother. I have an update before we go to break. Okay, remember about a week ago, we highlighted a story of a black realtor, his client and his son at a home, being shown a property. And obviously the neighbors said, hey, black people here, they must be breaking and entering. So the police showed up, okay? And we got the video now of what happened to that family and to that realtor. Here it is.
Come out with your hands up. All right, one at a time. You in the first one, gray shirt, walk towards me with your hands up. All right, go in, keep coming. Yep. Go ahead, just turn around, put your hands behind your back for me.
What's the idea? Neighbors are calling in that you guys are breaking into the place. I'm the realtor. Okay, here. All right. Right here? Yeah. This work? Yeah. Something like for real estate? Yeah. This thing works on the satellite? Okay. Yeah, he's a realtor. Okay. So
why this happened?
He kind of explained a little bit. Says somebody
he was obviously here last week with that neighbors calling, looking over the house, going, hey, there's same car's back. I mean, I do apologize. Obviously, thank you for just going along with it.
The neighbors knew good and damn well they were not breaking into that home. They knew that. Even the explanation of the cop, when he said, hey, they said they saw your car here a few days ago, you went in and they saw your car back. Who in the hell breaks into a house twice in the same neighborhood? You're a cop. That made sense to you? The whole call was racial. So the police department, they did an internal investigation. They're standing by their officers saying that race had nothing to do with the incident. Race had everything to do with the damn 911 call. And race is the reason why you did not give them the benefit of the doubt. Just knock on the door and figure out what's going on first. Do some investigation. Ask a question or two. You didn't do any of that. Not only is it bad policing, it was definitely contextualized through the racial elements that we see. That's your update. All right, we got more. Indisputable, stick and stay.
Cenk Uygur is not here today, which means that I will be able to talk during the show.
We'll see.
Poor Cenk, under the bus.
My God, if Jesus came back, how much would the Republicans hate him? So now you have to give away all of your possessions to the poor. Steve King would be like, oh, Weezy. Everyone should be lucky enough to have a John Iadarola in their life.
You confused everyone?
Okay, sorry, I thought it was pretty clear.
Take a break now.
You can turn me to Dr. Manhattan as long as I get what Dr. Manhattan's packing, okay?
The liberal mom says, Mark Thompson, have you ever thought about doing one of those tapes that soothe people to sleep? Like Mark Thompson reads the phone book. I'd buy it.
If you'll buy it, I'll do it.
Emilio D'Amelio writes in, John, you are so thick. I love you. That's what he wrote.
Pork Chop Express writes in and says John Iadarola needs a new jacket.
Whoa.
Those 24-inch pythons are about to burst out of his sleeve.
Gun, baby. You know, the two people here said that their moms were both in love with you over Beauty and the Beast.
Mm-hmm. That's an improvement. I usually get grandmothers.
Charlie Turk.
No, wait a minute, don't you dare.
Chemical castration when we return from the break.
I hope that, who they choose for the White House isn't just a borderline Klansman. That's all we gotta hope.
That's it, we will settle.
She's cute. I didn't say that about Laura Ingraham.
Scandal at TYT. Did Anna comment on my tan yet? No, she hasn't.
You're a good bosser.
But Anna did say that I come in here today with a fresh mind. That's all I'm about. I'm about a fresh mind.
I can't with you right now. Okay?
She just can't. She can't, but nonetheless, we have to for another 3 hours. I'm back, baby. Let's rip into Republicans. You don't miss the live show. That's great. Tell people, if you're a member, you get the whole live show whenever you want, because this stuff doesn't go into any of the clips.
Welcome to the Damage Report. I'm John Idarola. This is gonna be a big one.
Meanwhile, in the Arctic, you know where this is going. You watch the Damage Report, the Arctic's on fire. Obviously, why would we be talking about the Arctic except to tell you that it's melting once again? The Republicans aren't that interested in it. I wonder why. Lift out of poverty up to 3.7 million people, including an estimated 1.3 million children. Hashtag save the children? Not if it costs money. I mean, come on.
What's happening? I'm Dr. Rashad Richey, host of Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Richey. Here's the bottom line. I play no games about policy, period. Too many people's lives are at stake. So here's what I do. I challenge conservative ideology that hinders the growth of this country. I make sure we place our facts in proper context, and I have no problem debating anyone on a position that I have. Progressives have the ideas to change the world, but when you really look at it, progressives have always changed this world for the better. I want you to tune into my new show, Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Richey, right here on the TYT Network, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time. I'll see you there.
Everything that we've accomplished over the years is because of our members who've allowed us to remain independent of corporate interests and reach 20 million followers. Now is the time to bring as many people into the progressive movement as possible. We're inviting you to be the change and help bring a community-powered progressive change machine to life. Details are at tyt.com/change. If you're a member, thank you. We need you to remain so. If you're one of the thousands of viewers out there who's not a member yet, the time has come for you to join now. We need you more than ever. tyt.com/change.
Welcome back to Indisputable. Let me read some of these amazing comments. Thank you for engaging the show. Don't forget to stick and stay for Galaxy Brain with Ben Corollo. He was on the show this week, did a remarkable job. Has a great program. All right, make sure you stick and stay for that. TYT member, cognitive dissonance is a hell of a drug. And this isn't just one teacher's opinion. This is formalized education. Wow, just wow, exactly. This is not one or two teachers doing some kind of educational experiment. Thousands of schools, K through 12 education systems have already adopted these textbooks. Mickey C, the silver-haired dragon. Convenient Christians spew the parts of the Bible that condone their beliefs, ignore the parts that condemn their actions. Christians who hate, lie, and preach violence. Tell them that their blonde, blue-eyed Jesus was a brown Jewish, far left socialist, and their heads explode. You know, and it's interesting when you hear Christian evangelicals talk about learn English if you want to stay in America. But Jesus didn't know any English. Okay, YouTube super chat, songs of sovereignty. Aloha, Dr. Richey, mahalo for your work. Thank you. Watching and learning from you every day. Prayers of strength, mana, and protection for you and yours from Hawaii Island. Thank you for that. And same to you. All right, my poet, and you know it, Kelly O'Hara. Textbooks blaming Black Lives Matter are wilder than Mad Hatter. America's greatest blight is this stuff from the right. Get it out of my sight. Bars. Beautiful. Grandma Sunshine Dragon. I want to throw up now. This is not how Christians are supposed to behave. Such an embarrassment. If we forget our past, we are doomed to repeat it. Hugs to you, Dr. Richey, and Woz, and the Dragons. Hugs back to you. Thank you, Crumble. Continue communicating, Doc. Shall do. Bobby, did I just miss it? Okay. It's a lot on here. Made money in the building. I'm proud to be from Oakland, one of the most diverse and culturally dope places in the world, because I can't understand being racist and bigoted. And don't even try. Don't even try to understand it. Okay. Thank you for the Trenchy. Thank you for that. Central Committee is rated with 753. Thank you, Central Committee. Big ups. Redeemed, highlight my message, 1500. Okay. Fritter 687. As a white Christian male, this is absolutely disgusting, and is why conservatism needs to die. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday?
I feel free. Back off! I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Watch me and my cousin get at Goodwill.
Back the up.
We're not doing that in here.
Back the up. Oh, so you want us to call the police? So you want us to call the police? Go call the police.
Call the cops.
Call the police. Call the police.
No. I need a hug.
No.
Listen. Listen.
Cut out. Hello.
He, she.
No. Listen. I'm gonna keep
Caitlyn Jenner is my hero.
Pushing.
Get to step and freak. You come at me like that.
Come at who? You swung at two girls. Get a grip.
You're not a girl.
None of that.
You're transsexual.
If it helps you sleep better at night, my love.
Adios, freak.
Excuse me. Yes. No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
I was like literally being nice to them. Like this. And then they got rude.
Yeah. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay, stop it.
Oh, there's a whole lot more. So the TikTok video was posted by Yike Sammy, or Sammy Rose, who was one of the two young women here. The cousins experienced this encounter at a Goodwill store in Florida. There's more.
Are you gonna pay for your stuff?
I'm waiting for them to leave so I can finish my shopping experience.
They're not leaving.
I'm not leaving either. We'll leave together. How about that?
No.
Come on. It's my party and I'll freak.
Listen. Just bring it down.
Blonde or wannabe blondie here. She said something like, "Don't even talk to." I'm like, I'm talking to the sisters. Doing my Michael Jackson dance.
Okay.
And then the freaks.
You're talking to me.
The freak's gonna come at me.
Okay, but
you got the wrong one, little girl. You better laugh it off.
You better not show that. You better not. No. You guys will leave when you want to. Okay, go ahead, sir.
I'm relaxing. I just wanted to say.
Listen, please. I'm gonna ask you nicely. Let them go about their business. You know, if you come out this door, they have the right to you up, right? Who? They do, because you're following them now. You need to get back in the store. Let's go. Get your ass in the store. Anyway.
Don't go anywhere, because this serial male Karen has more, all right? Before I get to the next video, let me give you a little bit of background. And by the way, people are applauding the Goodwill workers for standing up like they did. Big ups to those black women. Rose explained in the comments of the TikTok that the man was harassing the employees, then turned to Rose and her cousin to talk to them. They told him not to talk to them and leave them alone. The man got angry and called the women a transphobic slur. When they began to walk away, he followed and started swinging at them. Okay? Now, a year ago, literally last August, a video was posted by Reddit showing this same male Karen doing this.
You have your phone on, you can do a curbside pickup. It has to go through the app.
Are you?
No, I'm not. I'm actually there's
Bring this gentleman out here.
He doesn't need to be over here. I will call the prosecutor and exit my store.
You're telling me I can't buy that for what reason now?
Because I'm not doing a cash transaction.
Curbside service like everyone else is doing.
You have to do it through the phone.
I don't do the app, I pay cash money.
But we're not.
Do you understand that, little girl?
I do.
Are you guys on drugs? Am I missing something?
Are you sure? Anybody?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
And watch your mouth, dude.
I will, so it's fine. I will call the cops if you don't exit my store. You keep using vulgar language, there is a child right there.
What vulgar language?
I'm not repeating it.
My family are all litigators. This is you're doing this to the wrong guy. And I'm telling you, I cannot wear the mask. I'm medically exempt. Do you understand that?
There's no medical exemption.
I can go get a
Yes, there is. Mr. Smarty Pants, you don't know what you're talking about.
Listen to pulmonologist.
You're what? What did you say?
My husband's a pulmonologist.
Your husband? Let me have a good look at you. Oh, I'm gonna have some fun with this one.
She's getting a
Are you filming this?
I absolutely am.
The dude wasn't even a customer. So according to the background, he was trying to get in there so he could break a $100 bill. They already told him, listen, you don't even have a shirt. You gotta have a shirt and you have to wear a mask in order to patronize this establishment. According to the person who did the recording, the situation escalated to the point that he entered the store and approached one of the workers. Because he was coming at me, she says, I stopped recording and backed away. At this point, he told me, brush your teeth and to clean your P word every 28 days, OBGYN. He did finally leave the store. The woman and her 9-year-old daughter were escorted to their car by the general manager as well as a cashier. See, he gets like this when someone tells him there is a rule that he must follow. You see, this is common, okay? He tries to make advances to 2 women. They say, hey, we're not about that. Let's keep it moving. That's a rule, that's a personal rule they have. He violates that rule. He tries to come into this establishment. They say, hey, we have rules here. His family are litigators. You're messing with the wrong one. And then he continues to insult. Typical Karenicity behavior. Woz, your thoughts here?
The sense of entitlement is just oozing from this guy. And I think that's usually the common denominator of most Karens. It's a sense of, I deserve to do and have whatever I want at whatever cost, whenever I want it. And this guy, I mean, part of me, Dr. Richie, because I'm from a certain type of era, I would like to see this dude get slapped in the face. But I know in 2021 we don't really move around like that. But like, this is somebody who, you ever see somebody act a certain way and think to yourself, this person's never been punched in the face before. Because there's a humility that has to come with that, right? When it's like, I'm capable of like being brought down to a certain level if I act out or talk out of turn. This guy has just never had that in his entire life, and he's just behaving like a toddler. I don't even know what you're supposed to do with that when a guy has it in his mind that it's his God-given right to harass people while they're at their job, as if retail work isn't some of the hardest, most strenuous work we can do out here in America as far as the types of people and things that you got to deal with on a day-to-day. What type of person wakes up in the morning and says, I want to harass those people? It's crazy.
Yeah, and you and I know if he keeps on like this, he gonna pick the right one.
Yeah,
it's the law of statistics, right? The law of statistics will set in at some point. He's gonna pick the right one. I got something for you, Woz. Double dose.
You want to call the police on him for having a barbecue on a Sunday?
I feel free. Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African American man threatening my life.
I was here yesterday, man. You know who I am. It's all my children. Why is your phone not working? I don't what? I don't understand you. Why didn't your phone? Don't you put your hands on my son and your sister right now. Don't you ever put your hands on my son. Actually, I will call the police and I will have you arrested for putting your hands on a minor. That's what I'm going to do. Good. Get out of my face, lady. I don't even know you. Get the out of my face. hands on my son.
This particular Karen took it upon herself to put her hands on another parent's child to stop that child from swimming, from entering into a swimming pool that they had a right to be at, okay? This woman has been unidentified, but an update says that she was in fact disciplined. We'll talk about that in a moment. The unidentified woman was charged weeks later after she assaulted a child while attempting to block this child from using the community freaking pool, all right? Since the video of the incident has gone viral, the mother of the child posted an update to the situation. Here's the update.
The update is she was charged with a misdemeanor assault on a child under 12. When this video was taken, I didn't know it was being taken, but when the police officer came, I told him what happened. And then he went to get her story, and her story was that I attacked her. Of course, the police officer was starting to believe her at first based on just the way we look. She's an older white lady and her whole tone changed. She wasn't talking crazy or outside of her neck. The police officer was believing her, but then there was a lady at the pool. She's the one that actually took the video. I didn't know she was taking it, but she took that video because there's been issues where people on the HOA pool committee, because there's 3 women and she's one of them, that single out children who aren't white. It just is what it is. Because this day she let 2 white boys in front of my kids, but told my kids they had to wait outside the gate. Ever since this video has been out and ever since charges have been pressed against her and 2 other women on the HOA that we've had issues with have constantly harassed my landlord, sending emails, spreading lies about me and my children. I don't care if my children are the devils themselves. You don't have the right to put your hands on nobody, let alone a child.
I detect no lies in that one whatsoever. Let's put up a picture of this, Karen. All right, we got it, yeah. What makes you think, what makes you believe that you can physically assault a child? You don't have the right to do that to anyone. I am glad that the woman or the male, we don't know, someone took this video, and this video ended up being the evidence that literally got justice for this child and this parent. Because as you heard from the mother, the police, when they arrived, they actually believed the Karen. But there was video. Woz, what are your thoughts here?
Man, immediately I think about my upbringing and whatever happened to good old fashioned mind your business, mind your beeswax, mind your neck. Like, don't be a busybody. Stay out of people's business. Like, go about your day, lady. Like, why are you so concerned with what these young children are doing? Why do you have to get outside of yourself and feel like you need to inject yourself in policing a pool community? You know, like, mind your business. That ain't your kids, those ain't your people. Go about your day. It's just crazy how bothered these people always are by just other people existing around them. It's so anti everything that I was taught to be, especially growing up in New York, where it's just like, don't talk to strangers for any reason whatsoever. Don't interact with people you don't know. Go about your business. Don't do anything. Just the idea that I would talk to somebody's kid about what they need to be doing in the pool I just can't understand it. Sometimes I do believe we live in 2 Americas.
Yeah, and not only talk to the kid, but go up and physically assault the kid.
That's craziness.
As if this is your child, all right? We got more on the other side. It's indisputable, stick and stay.
You know what the progressive movement needs? It needs a little energy, a little pizzazz, maybe a little caffeine. Oh, coffee. But what if it was Too Strong Coffee? Yes, new twostrongcoffee.com/TYT. Look, this helps progressive causes. It's also organic and fair trade, so you've got peace of mind that it was done right and it happens to taste great. So check it out right now at twostrongcoffee.com/TYT.
300 million is a pretty good number, Well, that's the size of the US population. You know what our next target is? The size of the entire world. We just crossed 5 billion views on YouTube.
I mean, imagine 10 years ago thinking one day.
We looked at you like, are you nuts? Young Turks has just passed another milestone. 15 billion views. Damn. All right, lots of comments. You guys are the best.
I'm gonna read a few comments from our members.
Mr. Methuselah says on YouTube, super chat, thanks for all the important work you do for TYT for the movement.
Do you know who had the first super chat when I got back from vacation? You won't be surprised to find out. Rob Shively. What do you know? Rob says, rejoice for Dragon Daddy has returned.
This question sent to us by Izzy Sanchez Jr. Is it me or is Meghan McCain talking as fast as Ben Shapiro? Is that the way the right tries to look smart and intellectual? Well, yes.
Michael Nathan writes it on Twitter. Did Anna choose Cenk's outfit today? I'm sure it wasn't Cenk himself. Man Bun Jenkins Skinny Jeans says, so now Anna has pointed out, okay, that's his handle.
T. Joyce, 1971, saying Donald Trump is good at pulling out of things, NAFTA, the Iran deal, NATO. It's just too bad Fred Trump didn't.
All right, let me do a little quick plug here. It's not even a plug, I'm bragging, okay? I'm bragging, watch me. We have a channel on YouTube, a whole channel devoted just to the Young Turks. It's badass, right? Wow, man. I can see the voice.
You guys are rock stars.
Unbelievable. Senator Sanders, welcome to Rebel Headquarters. Man, you guys are amazing. We gave you what you wanted. Okay. Speaking of shirts.
I have a surprise.
You reached a lot of people. You are the Young Turks. And we have spread that progressive message wide and far. Let's keep it going.
Here's what we do. We go beyond the headline. We are willing to engage in transparent conversations with those who do not think like me. We also make sure that you know what's happening not only nationally, but in your local area. Make sure you tune in to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, Monday through Friday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time.
Cool news, shoptyt.com now has books. There's a whole bunch of books there. You're gonna be shocked to find out that they're largely progressive. Of course! Ryan Grimm's book, We've Got People, is there. It's a fantastic story from Jesse Jackson to Bernie Sanders to AOC that explains the progressive movement probably better than any book I've ever read. Speaking of awesome books, my dad's got a book out called The Original Young Turk, where he goes from the poorest olive farmer you ever met in your life to living the American dream.
Welcome back. We got a lot to cover still. Let me go to some of these amazing comments. TYT member Cray Souffle. The fanny pack doesn't help this critically stupid care man. Male Karen, yes. Carlson is a lying mother tucker. I'm pretty sure his family of litigators wouldn't touch this one with a 10-foot pole. All right, cognitive dissonance is a hell of a drug. Mind your neck. That's going into the rotation now. Thanks, Wad. That's what I said too. I said, mind your neck. That's a new one for me. And I'm from the South and we say some crazy stuff. Okay, Diana, HOA board seemed to attract power hungry, prejudiced Karens. Disgusting. She should have opened the gate for these children and told them, have fun. But the Karenicity just runs too deep. Yeah, YouTube super chat. Omega Shinron Dragon, can my wife, Lisette, get a happy birthday shout out?
just did. Happy birthday, Lisette. All right, Bobby Williams, thank you for all you do. Much love from Austin, Texas. Thank you so much, Bobby. Much love back to you. Omega Shinron Dragon on the Karen. Big man gets tough when there's no one bigger. Naomi, wannabe David Lee Roth. Rhonda Smith. Once again, black women come in to save the day. We've been seeing that pattern lately, have we not? Mike V. George Floyd dies over a $20 bill. This guy gets to live with a $100 bill. Unreal. Yeah. All right. Kiki says, I swear these Karens are clout chasing. If they are obnoxious and bigoted enough, they might just get to appear on Tucker or will get a shout out from Ingram. Pathetic. Yeah. All right, Twitch. RC Tycoon 13. A Friday double shot. Yeah, you're right. Peachy Shari. My husband says he wishes a Karen would near him because he's give them a piece of his mind. He'll give them a piece of his mind. That would be a battle royale. By the way, Dr. Richie, he said you made his day with that segment. I'm happy to oblige. Take that energy all the way into your weekend. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a Phoenix police chief has been suspended just for one day though. Why? Because they decided to charge protesters as gang members, knowing good and damn well they were not gang members at all. It was, in fact, criminal how they used the criminal code in such an egregious way. Phoenix Police Chief Jerry Williams has been suspended for 1 day. And others in her executive staff have been demoted after outside investigations found that they trumped up bogus charges against protesters, and they had a ridiculous challenge coin. So let me first talk about the protesters, okay? I'll put up a picture of Chief Williams. That's Chief Williams, okay? Someone who, by the way, should know better than to charge protesters with an obviously racial biased charge like gang affiliation. But she did, her whole team did. And let me show you how they pulled it off. The case began last year after 15 protesters were arrested during a march against police brutality in downtown Phoenix. So that's your context, right? They have the legal right to protest bad policing. It's called America. They were indicted, ladies and gentlemen, by a grand jury on charges of assisting with a criminal street gang. The Maricopa County Attorney's Office alleged in front of a grand jury that protesters were part of a gang called ACAB. All cops are B words. Prosecutor said the gang was made to create violence against police. During the testimony by Sergeant Douglas McBridge, investigators say McBridge compared the group to notorious street gangs like Bloods and Crips. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, let me say this. For years, I have operated as a person who actually deprograms gang members. I was a gang member as a teenager. I've done this work all across the United States of America. There is no damn gang called ACAB at all. None. It doesn't exist. And they knew it did not exist. It gets deeper. Officials commented that it also found those involved consciously avoided, including the gang enforcement unit, in an attempt to sideline those deemed likely to object to charging protesters as members of a criminal street gang. So here's what these guys did. They decided to not consult with their actual gang unit and gang experts at the police department because they knew good and damn well their gang unit would have said, hell to the no, these people are not gang members. So they left them completely out of this chaos and madness in order to get these trumped up charges and to get this indictment and to trick a grand jury to provide testimony adversarial to the facts of the case. Criminal, ladies and gentlemen, this is criminal. And what do they get? The chief gets 1-day suspension, the hell? Her command staff, they get demoted? This is criminal. All right, it gets deeper. The investigation noted that both Phoenix police and the MCAO made the decision to press gang-related charges. The county attorney, Alistair Adele, filed a motion in June to dismiss all of the charges related to the protest, citing a lack of time and resources needed to pursue the case. So you mean to tell me y'all just let 15 gangsters go? That's your official statement. We just didn't have time to prosecute them. Tell the truth. You knew they were never gang members. Tell the truth, and it got exposed. There's more. The city of Phoenix also confirmed that a challenge coin, and a lot of departments have these things, they give it to their friends and family members. A challenge coin has circulated among police officers during President Donald Trump's visit back in 2017. The coin depicted a man being shot in the groin with a pepper ball with the phrase, "Make America Great Again, one nut at a time." The coin also had a second phrase, "Good night, left nut." The investigation found that supervisors had given the coins as gifts to subordinates within the department, and some of those coins were bought or exchanged while on duty. As pointed out by a reporter online, the coin shares similarities to a neo-Nazi slogan. Let's put this up from Dave's Twitter. He says, let's make this simple. Here's a pic of the front and back of the challenge coin Phoenix officers possessed after shooting a protester in the groin. The third pic is one of many examples of how it's related to neo-Nazi slogan images. Look at that. Look at these people. Okay? What they did. Now, I understand the coin thing is just hella insensitive, right? We can all agree to that. But what they did to these protesters by fabricating a narrative, presenting false testimony, charging them as gang members, lying to a grand jury, for none of them to now be charged with an actual crime, but to receive a 1-day suspension, demotion from command staff. Remember, they're likely still paid the exact same amount of money. What? You can get away with this? Wiles, what are your thoughts here?
My first thought is, as you said, there is no ACAB in existence, but shouldn't there be? That's a great name. I'm not gonna lie, that's just a fantastic name, man. Somebody come up to you and be like, "Hey, man, you want to join this club? It's called All Cops and B Words." I'd be like, "Hey, that's not the worst name I've ever heard." But no, in all seriousness, the problem with this, and it's part of what we highlighted in an earlier segment, is this type of stuff erodes trust, yes, erodes credibility. And it's that erosion of trust and credibility that creates an environment in which those cops that went to that property, the reason why they gotta act all shook and be like, "Hey, come out with your hands up and your guns and all of that," instead of just being able to knock on the door and be like, "Hey, what's going on, guys?" Because they know they have no credibility with these people. They haven't built any trust with these people. And so the behavior sort of justifies itself, right? It's like we have to act scared because we've acted like idiots and we have no integrity. And so people don't trust us. And so it has a terrible just trickle down effect of bad behavior begets bad behavior begets bad behavior. And I know, of course, obviously these are two different police departments, but we're talking about the same issues here. When the cops, one, it's shameful what they did in the first place, right? Like the idea that you would categorize people exercising their constitutional right to protest, and you would arrest them, one, and characterize them to try to smear them as gang members, two, and then you get caught and there are no repercussions. That's just chasing bad with bad. And again, like that's why people in the community have no trust and don't see you as credible, right? And therefore cops have to behave like little wusses at every corner because they think the people are against them.
Yeah, well said, brother. Let me shift gears for this story. We all get upset about social injustice on some level. Normal people get upset about things like unarmed people being killed, systemic oppression, racism, and bigotry, right? Here's what people who are not normal, here's what they get upset about. Anti-masker parents formed a mob, an angry mob, because their school system reinstated a mask mandate policy. The mob of parents threatened and heckled everyone who decided to wear a mask. Here's some of that video.
You guys, there's a bad place in hell, and everybody's taking notes, buddy. Keep that little smug. Yeah. Put your mask on. Kids sucking that bacteria. How you like that? We know who you are. We know who you are. Keep it calm. No more masks. Keep it calm. Keep it calm. No more masks. We're on these guys' side. They're on our side. No, they're not. They're not on our side. The police are on our side. The police are on our side. Let's calm down. Yes. Calm down. We know who you are. We know who you are. You can leave freely, but we will find you, and we know who you are. Never be allowed in public again. I know who you are. Let them out. Let's let them out. Let them out. You better watch out. You better watch out. Everyone, peace. Peace. Peace, but we know who you are. You know who you are.
This is happening because people are wearing a mask. That's a personal decision. This is happening because the school system said we now must reapply the mandate for children to wear masks because they are suffering. This is what these individuals got upset about. According to details from NBC News, children have shown more symptoms with the Delta variant of the coronavirus than with previous strains. And they have increasingly been hospitalized in recent weeks. Children's hospitals in states that have high transmission rates have begun to battle bed shortages. NBC News reported that recently, okay? The FDA, Food and Drug Administration, has issued emergency use authorizations for COVID-19 vaccines for adults and children over the age of 12, leaving younger children more vulnerable to infection. The FDA said last month that it hopes to offer authorization for children under 12 by early to mid-winter. Let me go to what happened inside of this meeting, okay? There's a person that calls themselves a Hollywood star. She had some stint of success, but here's what she said at the meeting.
Hi, my name's Lee Allen Baker, and I'm a California refugee. I gave up everything there, a really successful Hollywood career, television shows, gave it all up for freedom and to come to this friendly place of Tennessee and be greeted with open arms, and I love it here. I wanted to tell you that I have 2 vaccine-injured children, And they have medical exemptions because after the seizures and the hospitalizations, after all of their immunizations, I was granted, obviously, a medical exemption. So my children are those rare children that will just not be able to get the vaccine. And still, I would never put them in a mask because their brain needs oxygen to grow, which the neurologist can confirm. Anyway, the real part of the clown show is that you all think that you actually have the authority to mandate this. Because there are these books that I have, and I have them as a gift for you. The Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the Federalist Papers, and also the Bible. And these guarantee my freedom and yours and our children's to breathe oxygen.
Fascinating. I'm flat out of time for the linear broadcast. Big Woz, how can people follow you, check out your shows? I don't hear you, Big Woz.
Whoops, sorry, I was muted. Please follow me on every single social media platform. That's BIGWOS, anywhere. And of course, check us out on Twitch, Wosny, every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Please subscribe to the Woke Bros with me and Nando Vila. And yeah, and if you love the NBA, check out our coverage at theringer.com.
You do a great job, big homie. Thank you for all you do, brother.
Thank you, appreciate you guys.
Absolutely, we got more. Stick and stay, indisputable.
I'll predict right here for you, Chris. I think Donald Trump will leave office before his term is up. He'll be humiliated, embarrassed, and I know him. He's not gonna wanna lose, and he's gonna run for the hills.
You got that bet all day long. Okay, let's get after it. Now, so look, Jake has made some good predictions, and this is in good fun. I could not disagree more.
There's a little bromance between the two of them. You got that bet all day long, Janky, you. Oh, you stop. In the meantime, let's call him out on the damage.
No, but
I just got a Roku set. Did basically a little bit of channel surfing, and I was like, there we are.
Yeah.
There we are. And then I turned it on, and it was John and Brett on Damage Report making fun of me.
Oh no.
So you are so busted. I even took a picture of it, okay? They're talking about my predictions. I got a new prediction for you, John Idarola.
You're doing a show that's blowing the doors off everybody.
Young Turks is the largest online news network, not a big deal. We're gonna rock the boat. We're gonna be counter-establishment. We're gonna tell people the truth to the best of our abilities. We're so sick of this corruption. We're not the robots on TV. I actually care about the news. Guilty, I care. Fourth day on Occupy Wall Street. Last night we launched Wolfpack. It's us pushing our ideas out there, trying to help the country in every way that we can, trying to make this place just a little bit better. Reporting from the Hillary-Bernie debate, I gotta be honest, you know what we do, we cover it for real. For us, this system isn't working. Free and fair elections.
And when he told the cops that day, when they came to drag her away, and he said, if you're gonna chain her, you're gonna chain me. If you're gonna arrest her, you're gonna arrest me.
Hi, I'm Bartholomew Joseph Kyle. I do audio for the main show, The Young Turks. I also do audio for Post Game. I started in 2006. I met Cenk Uygur at the Iraq for Sale screening that was directed by Robert Greenwald. And watching that, I want to figure out a way to be part of something that's genuine and authentic.
Welcome back to Indisputable. All right, we got some comments. Let's get to it. Mickey C, the silver-haired dragon, says, laughing my A off. I wonder how those racist cops would react to this old white woman who openly supports the gangs of Antifa and ACAB. Cognitive dissonance is a hell of a drug, says, talk about an unhinged, riotous mob, threatening people just doing their jobs, banging on cars, jumping in front of moving vehicles. Isn't that everything they were mad at the protesters for allegedly doing? Yeah. YouTube super chat, toddler story. Jill Wagner says, if Sandy Hook and these continued tragedies do not move the gun lobbyists, what the hell will? This story has brought me to tears. Again, nothing will move the gun lobby other than money. That's it. They have no heart, no soul. Cobra Shaka Zulu put up change.org site / end police brutality, nationalize it. The system doesn't need to be fixed, it needs to be replaced. I agree. Roger Harris, what's good, Dr. Rashad and Waz? I love your show and all you bring to TYT. It's my 40th birthday today, and your show makes me feel like I'm home with my brothers. But you are, okay? Happy birthday, homie. Linda M, can they change their name to ILBP gang? I like blueberry pie. It's about, your gang is just as legitimate as the gang they made up, by the way. Courtney, the SLP. Dr. Richie is a triple OG. Courtney, I am, Glenwood certified. Twitch, let's all tattoo ACAB on our knuckles. You're just going too far now, okay? Calm down, we know where you live. Right, the guy who was acting like the voice of reason and then threatening, saying we know where you live, come on. Red alert, shields up, I love that. That needs to be my ringtone. Doctor, I absolutely love this show. Keep up the good work. Thank you for that. Okay, next week we will restart our live bullpen sessions on Indisputable, okay? We will restart that. I'm looking forward to it. I need some live, fresh meat here, okay? Also, if you're watching me right now on linear, in order to check out my next segment, which is the bullpen debate segment, you have to watch me on streaming. The best way to do that, just go to YouTube, Indisputable TYT on YouTube, Indisputable TYT. Remember this, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and take care of this planet. And remember, the truth is always indisputable. Jennifer Nassar, Republican strategist, former chairwoman of the Massachusetts, am I right? Massachusetts Republican Party. And you have a distinguished career, you're an attorney at law, and you have said some things on the record, some I agree, some I disagree with, but you became anti-Trump at some point, or at least you've said things that were not in an apologist way toward Trump. So let's talk about some issues today. Welcome to Indisputable.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Absolutely. Let's talk about masks.
Yes.
There's this sentiment that somehow wearing a mask has become political. What are your thoughts about mask mandates? And do you think wearing a mask has become politicized in the conversation in America?
I definitely think it has. So I live in the great Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and we, despite being an incredibly blue state, we have a Republican governor. He's the most popular governor in the country. He is in his 6th year, 2nd term. He had mask mandates up until Memorial Day weekend. However, it was supposed to be in July that he was, or August, that he was going to lift all the mandates. But due to the CDC's recommendations, he jumped it and moved it up to May 29th. In Massachusetts today, anywhere you go. Now, we also have about 70% of our population is vaccinated. And so, we're doing really well on these vaccinations. Anywhere you go, you will still see people wearing masks. Even outside, you still see people wearing masks. And what I was told when I went into a store, actually I went into 2 different stores in Boston on either side of the street. Pretty much the exact same store, sell the exact same things. One store, please put your mask on. The other store, you can just walk in and out of. I was in another place where they said, these mask mandates, it changed too fast for us. So we're not going along with this. However, interestingly, in Rhode Island, which is an hour away from here, you can go anywhere in Rhode Island and no one's wearing a mask. That state is also a super blue state, and it has a Democratic governor. And once that Democratic governor lifted that mask mandate, you know what happened. Everyone took the masks off. So I do think that it has become political.
Well, let's talk about this in the context of health. And I want to make some comparisons here because I think you guys on the right have missed the mark on your argument and debate about mask or mask mandate. Do you agree that masks actually do limit the transference of COVID-19?
100%.
So you agree with that. So
yes.
You're on the right side of the science. Let me pose this question to you. Do you think it is an intrusion of the government to say we have a mask mandate in our state?
I think it's good public health. And I think anything that is public health and public safety is something that we should abide by. I'm a rule follower more than I am a political person.
All right, so you just lawyered me right there. All right, all due respect, you're trying to lawyer me. Now, do you think it is intrusion, madam, for the government to mandate the wearing of masks? Is it in fact government intrusion or not?
Well, I think that some can say that it is an intrusion in telling adults what to do. However, we ask people to show ID to get alcohol. We ask for ID when we board planes. So the government is there for certain things. And I do think that the government is there to make sure that people are safe. And the mask mandates were to make sure that people are safe.
So let me do this one more time, Counselor. Counselor, do you believe it is government intrusion to mandate individuals to wear masks?
No, I don't think it is government intrusion if it is for a legitimate public safety. However, once the CDC came out and said, and here is where Republicans and Democrats, here's where it becomes political. When last year, when Trump was president, everyone kept saying to the administration and to Republicans, follow the science. This year, Biden's president, and the science is wrong, right? So now if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask, but the CDC can't be right. So now the science actually doesn't apply. So my feeling is it's not a who's in office, it's the CDC. Yes, follow the science. And if they said we don't need to wear masks, then once you're vaccinated, then I think we go for it.
Let's talk about the origin of the politicized nature of wearing a mask. Would you not agree that this whole thing was at first a health issue, but it was in fact politicized by Donald Trump and his surrogates, and that started the politicization of wearing a mask? Or do you think it started somewhere else?
No, I think it probably started with the administration. I mean, I think that the president, when this was all starting, we did hear conflicting information, right? I mean, I went on a plane on March 15th of 2020 with my 3 kids, no masks, because we were told it doesn't help to wear a mask. we were told store-bought masks don't work. So, and then all of a sudden the information was flipping. So I do think that it was the administration, but it was also the miscommunication and the misinformation that they were being given.
By who? Wait a minute. They were told clearly that mask helps. They were told clearly that COVID was a real thing. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump gave a secret interview where he said this thing kills children too. And then a few days later, he comes out and says it's gonna be here today, gone tomorrow. He represented an adversarial nature of what he was even told or what he told the journalist in that interview. So you can't tell me that Donald Trump was unaware of COVID-19 during that time. He wasn't confused about it.
No. I don't think he was confused about it. I think what I'm saying is Fauci first came out and said to all of us, and we can go back and look at what was said in early 2020, in March of 2020, do not wear a mask. Normal people on the street don't wear a mask. It's worse for you to wear a mask. That was actually out of Fauci's mouth. I'm definitely paraphrasing, but he did say essentially that. He also said, don't buy any of those store-bought masks. Those don't help, and we need to save all of the masks for the healthcare workers. Then within a couple of weeks, it changed. That's when every child in America was making masks. Every grandmother in America was making masks. I was buying wife beater t-shirts from Target and making my own masks out of them, right? But because we were told not to buy these masks. So that's all I'm saying is that I think for someone like Donald Trump, who has always been the boss, he's always been the one giving the instructions, to be told one thing and then flipped around the next day, I think it also caused him a little bit of trauma, and right. He was a little bit upset by that.
So Jennifer, I'm gonna call bull on that. And so let me tell you why I'm gonna call bull on that. Fauci did say that a lot of these store-bought masks do not do what it should do to protect you from COVID-19. However, he also said in that same statement what kind of mask to get in order to protect yourself from COVID-19. So I don't feel that you're being completely genuine when you leave out the part of him saying, but here's the mask that you do need to get. And let's talk about the beginning of the pandemic. At the beginning of the pandemic, you had significant misinformation and individuals who simply did not know yet. But you're right, 2 to 3 weeks into the pandemic, there was what we call settled science about the fact that COVID-19 was an extreme pandemic and you needed to take these particular measures that included masks, it included hand washing, it included social distancing in order to stop or slow down the transmission of COVID-19. That was clear. Fauci said it on the record, said it multiple times. All in healthcare and the CDC said a synonymous message after 2 or 3 weeks in. And then it was only the politics of Donald Trump who said something adversarial to the truth of every established organization in the scientific community. You cannot explain that away by saying Trump was confused. And if he's that damn confused, he had no business being president of the United States when every single scientific entity agreed that COVID-19 was a problem and that mask could help decrease the spread.
Right, which is why Donald Trump wasn't reelected. I mean, I think that you're actually proving exactly what happened in history, right? So, I mean, we see that leadership takes real leaders. Now, you have someone like Andrew Cuomo who took a bunch of elderly people and who had COVID and stuck them back in nursing homes, and then we had greater nursing home deaths in New York than in any other state around the country. You have other governors that didn't take it seriously or took it too seriously and shut down their economy, and the economy is having a tough time being rebooted. But I think at the end of the day, the most important thing, and look, you saw lots of people on the Trump campaign that were in a war room that ended up getting COVID. So I mean, this thing was real. It was definitely real, but there is a time and a place. And once we knew the science and everyone was wearing masks and businesses were doing what they were doing, and then the CDC came around and said, our numbers are lower. Look, at the end of the day, we all get flu shots. I don't know about you. Every year I get the flu shot, I still get the flu, but I'm not dying from it. And so that's what we're trying to prevent is people dying. We're never going to get to zero. We're never going to get to 0 cases. But what we want to do is not see people die, whether they're old or young. We don't want people to die. And I think that was really a missed opportunity by the president at the time and his leadership not to say wear masks, wash your hands, don't touch your face, and just social distance until we get this under control.
Do you believe Cuomo's policy and his negligence, which I agree, I think Cuomo was negligent. You will get absolutely no love from me as it relates to that action. Do you think his negligence led to the death of individuals in these elderly centers or nursing homes?
I do. I think he was very wrapped up in the celebrity of it all. I mean, no matter where you were in the US, you would see the president and then you would see Cuomo. And then maybe you would catch your governor after Cuomo's address. But every day Cuomo was on like clockwork.
So and let me pose this to you.
He got caught up in that.
Let me pose this. Do you think Trump's policies killed hundreds of thousands?
Well, I mean, I think it's a little bit different. Trump didn't
hell to the no, ma'am.
Trump didn't stick people in nursing homes together.
No, Jennifer, if Cuomo utilized your critical thinking here, utilize your Iraq formulation, if Cuomo's policies led to the death of individuals in his state, how is it that Trump's policies that you agreed ignored the same basic elements of what this virus would do? How is it that his policies did not lead to the death of hundreds of thousands of Americans?
Well, because I'll tell you why. Because there's a distinction here that you have to understand. In Cuomo's situation, as the governor of a state, he took people out of hospitals and said, please send them back to the nursing homes. In Trump's situation, it was people who were ignorant in certain circumstances that wanted to listen to Trump and not listen to the science, that were adults, that were not vulnerable. Cuomo took the most vulnerable and stuck them in a very precarious situation.
You don't think Trump supporters are the most vulnerable group in the country? Come on now.
Listen, I think if you are going to believe the thing you want to believe and you get sick and you die because you were listening to him, it is very different than having someone say to you, go back to that nursing home, and then all of a sudden an entire population dies because of that.
It's different, but it's not. One is death by policy and the other one not. They are both death by policy here. Both of those elements are death by policy. Maybe we won't agree on that, but I do find it strikingly amazing that you can call out Cuomo for his misguided policies and how they correlate to the death of our elders in this country, but you cannot make the connection to how Trump and his policies and his politicizing of this contributed to the death of Americans across the entire country. I don't get that.
Well, again, I will tell you once again, I think it's a difference of ignorance versus vulnerability. And I think when you are responsible, it's like being a parent. If you have a child who's 22 and you say, don't go out and drink tonight and vomit all over yourself, or you say to your 16-year-old, don't do this, you are much more responsible for your 16-year-old. You're much more responsible for the 1-year-old not walking into the pool. But if your 22-year-old just happens to fall into a pool, the 22-year-old is responsible for him or herself. And so that's the difference, is the vulnerability versus the ignorance.
Jennifer, we all know that children are classified differently based on their ability to understand and comprehend.
What's a person in a nursing home? A person in a nursing home is the
we get
same
that. I'm not
exact way.
debating on the fact that Cuomo's policy led to the death of people, okay? I'm not debating that. My debate with you is, how do you give Trump a pass when you can admit that his policies were adversarial to what was needed to protect Americans, and that he in fact started to politicize the issue, and it led to individuals not taking care of themselves. They died, Jennifer. They're dead right now.
I totally understand that, and I think it was a failure of leadership, which I agree with you on.
Failure of leadership led to the death of people.
It is a failure of leadership, but
his failure of leadership led to the death of people.
If you're going to text and drive, any Any law in the world is not going to prevent you from getting into an accident and killing yourself or someone else. If you're going to drink and drive, that also is not going to prevent anyone. And same thing with driving while intoxicated.